All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we are going to cover just a few things. I'll go over that here in just a second, including that monkey truck that crashed. Apparently, that woman is sick now with very specific kinds of symptoms. So we'll talk about that briefly, and then we will also talk about what I just put out on the main channel, a very specific threat to our grid, which is now being put out. It goes along with everything else, so stick around. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Just a heads up, I cannot sit for very long tonight. I am having a lot of issues, so I'm going to go over what we have collected tonight. We have a full show gathered, but I believe that, again, I'm not going to be able to do a full show tonight. I warned you that I've been having a lot of issues. I am currently dealing with my third bout of diverticulitis in now 2 years, on top of a blood clotting issue I was just getting over. So I apologize, but again, I am now having to go back in to get antibiotics again. So hopefully hopefully we're not at the point of surgery again. I for those of you that know, you know. If you don't, you don't. Thank you, everybody, for being patient. But yeah, by now I know it's now the third time, and I know exactly what it is. So luckily I know what it is, and it's way better that way. If this is, if you are new to this channel and somebody brought you here, I apologize. This is your first show, but remember, you can actually follow along to our show on our website, marfooglenews.com. You can go over there and check our sources. We have a full bibliography. If we show you a video, a tweet, an article, or a document, that will all be over there. We have collected a ton of information over there for tonight's show. We had a really full one, again, ready. We'll just hit the headlines and make sure that you have everything updated. That way we can at least say we let you guys know about some of this, including the monkey truck. What is going on right now in other countries is getting hot. Let's bring in my co-host / internet brother. What is going on? Dex, how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I am doing all right.
So remember, when you go to our website, it's very easy to navigate. You can go by thumbnail. You will just look for box, truck, craft, Pennsylvania. When you click on this thumbnail, you will see that it brings you, it's all coming together. It will bring you to every source that we have here today. Also, on the right side, if you do want to support us, if you want to, again, get any of the affiliates that we have, say My Patriot Supply, if you want to stock up, if you want to protect yourself against EMP, which highly recommend at this point, you can go over and click that box down below. If you are already shopping with Amazon, I'm not telling anybody to go with the crazy monopoly company, but if you are already shopping through them, if you can, click that box before you do so, and it will end up helping our channel at the same time as you're getting your stuff. Again, and at the bottom, there's web-only content. This is basically the stuff that is too hot for TV, the stuff that is too far to one direction for us to cover, anywhere besides our website. So that is there, and of course, there is a lot going on. In fact, one of the pieces here, there is something really, really big going on, and it is this one right here. The update FBI raids, man. Tell you about a motive for flubbing. Anyways, you can go check that out on our website. I appreciate everybody that's here. Dex, SpaceX rocket is about to crash into the moon after 7 years of chaos. That's pretty insane.
Not even planned, right?
No, and what is all this stuff? What if they have something hitting the moon and they need to warn the public? So basically the public might see some, big boom or something hit the moon, and it's not really this SpaceX rocket, it's something else. Like they're testing something or something.
Or what if they actually plan to do this and they're just saying it wasn't planned? Because, I don't know, maybe they're doing something, like you said, that we're not supposed to know about. But yeah, this is kind of interesting. It's from 2015, so that's what they're saying. The rocket was launched, back in the early days of SpaceX, and it was not in much of control, but apparently it's in a perfect trajectory to, hit the moon. So what's the likelihood that would happen?
I don't know. That is really, that's pretty nuts. I'm sure Reddit boards are going to be full with people questioning this, because it definitely you could have a million different opinions on this. And then as China eyes Colombia, the United States is AWOL. We've talked about this previously with China eyeing Latin America, and they've been working in with every which way they can, especially with other countries that we stopped funding. There were several countries that the U.S. and other allies stopped funding, and China and Russia moved right in. So that, again, is over on our website. Again, it says governments around the world have launched major spending programs to stimulate their economies following the devastating impact of the pandemic. Latin America is no exception, and that is both a risk and an opportunity for the United States. If Washington wants to maintain its influence in the Americas and stave off Beijing's accelerated encroachments into the region, it needs to focus on aiding the region's economic recovery. It says the Biden administration rightly pushing for global investments in infrastructure and its Build Better World program. That's a world program, by the way. A lot of people didn't know that. A direct response to China's strategic Belt and Road Initiative. But passing a program in Congress is not enough. Washington needs a concrete game plan to implement the program and start making a dent into the Chinese encroachment into Latin America. Essentially, they have been moving in, and they, by the way, all of these things that you see in world news where these smaller countries are having all of these issues, or power's going out, the grids going down and things like this, and then all of a sudden they have a new leader. I want to remind you, Haiti, somehow that was connected to a U.S. Person who lived in Florida. Somehow, just magically, there was all these people that were, they said, oh, it's somebody that was running against him and was his mortal enemy. And just so happens one of the 20 thugs that went in and took him out just happened to be tied to Florida, right? Because everything is tied to Florida. And in fact, I think one of the titles of the headlines was Florida Man, because everything is Florida Man. And then Haiti. I want to say Tasmania. I want to say, there was 5 different countries that did not go along with the world kind of the order of things, if you know what I mean. And all 5 of those, within 4 months, had 5 new leaders. Some of them, the old leaders, don't exist anymore. In fact, I believe most of them, yeah. Those were the leaders that did not go with the flow, to say the least. Now they are now going with the dirt. And then air car that can transform from a road vehicle into the plane and certified to fly. This thing looks, I believe the picture that they have is the actual picture, not a stock picture. But it basically looks like a car that you can put wheels on. Dex, am I right that the picture of it looks like a...
Yeah. That's it. It's a car, and the wings just sort of collapse into it, and you drive and you could fly. But they've basically gone through rigorous testings, over 200 flights with I guess it was the European Aviation Safety Agency. So it's finally passed all of its tests, and it's certified to fly. So it's going to be interesting if we see these in the air. I don't know how that certification works in the U.S. I imagine it's somewhat transferable, or it's probably easier to get that approved in the U.S. now that it's been approved in Europe. So, but we'll, more than likely, some people have already seen this up in the air because it's been test flying, but it's going to be interesting to see these things owned by people and actually, flying. I can't imagine they're going to let them take off from the street or from a interstate, but you can basically drive into the airport and then take off.
Well, the one thing, it's not loading the picture, which is, it essentially looks like a sleek kind of sports car, but then you pop on wings. Just so you know,
there may be more down below.
Yeah, it's just not. Oh, there we go. So it's an ugly car and it's an ugly plane. It works as both. It doubles as both. But just so you know, what's funny, some of the old timers here are probably like, oh, they already did that, and they did that in the 70s. Here in the Flight Museum, there's a red little kind of Pinto-looking car in our Flight Museum, and it was a Pinto with wings, or not a Pinto, but it was one of those little cars, and it was able to fly, and it's in the Flight Museum here. It's like, this is nothing new, but it's kind of that futuristic thing, like, oh, cars will fly in the future. What will really change is when, if this is self-flying, and if it's AI-driven, and you are actually able to own it as a civilian, take off from, say, your driveway, which it's not there yet, or have a publicly available thing that you don't have to have a pilot's license. You drive to your local airport or like a parking lot, like a park and ride, and you get in your plane car. And then you bring it back and park it there at night or whatever. And then or wing storage place. What if the place where you take the wings off, you put them in storage? But it doesn't look like the wings come off, but I'm sure they do. I'm sure they've figured out something for that. You can't be decking people.
And this does do takeoff and landing without the pilot touching anything. It does have automation for that.
Yeah, so that's the point it would have to be for that to actually happen. Simply Pony, thanks for your support. If again, this is a shorter show, so if this isn't the show to really support on, if you feel like supporting, I appreciate it. But again, I feel like we're not giving you a full show here. So again, we will be back tomorrow. I just I need to go back in. If anybody's ever had diverticulitis, I need to start the antibiotics for it, and then it was last time it was like within 1 day I felt a lot better. But hopefully it's not worse than last time. Militarized dolphins protect almost a quarter of the U.S. nuclear stockpile. Dex, this was something that we've talked about with other countries. Now, where did this kind of pop out of?
Well, this was sort of news to me, but I think this is actually in your neck of the woods, if I remember correctly. But they're using, and they've used these for a while, like to detect mines. Like they would send a dolphin out, and when it would find a mine, it would come back and tell its owner, and the owner would give it a buoy, or the trainer, and then it would fly. It would zip back to where it was, then drop the buoy there so they could see where it was. They've also trained them to go down to divers. And if they find mysterious divers that aren't supposed to be there, they will attach a buoy to those people as well and sort of force them up to the surface. And now they've been using them where there's a large selection of nukes, which is about 25%. I want to say it was it's in Washington, Bangor, Washington. So there's a large stockpile there, and they're protecting the waters out there. So they're using the same training that they have to look for things that are coming in and trying to protect those warheads that are stored. 25% of the entire arsenal is right there in Bangor, according to this article.
We've covered this a lot, and we've actually covered the dolphins, the Austin Powers, dolphins with the lasers things from other countries, and I didn't know that. Heck, in my neck of the woods, we've got militarized dolphins. I believe it though; they are smart as humans in a lot of cases. I have seen interactions with dolphins personally that I felt like it was another person there that couldn't talk. That they were smarter than some people I know. So, by the way, Barefoot Lass, thanks for being here. Tree Hookers, NXT Shade, thank you. What do you think is going on the island of? Which island? I know freaking dolphins with freaking laser beams, says Simply Pony. Susan Loves Huskies, thank you for being here. Bumpity, Gary R. Which island, by the way? I forgot to ask you that. Sub-Hunter planes off of East Coast 2. So, Scooter Pie. Isn't Scooter Pie the one who confirmed the flight radar information last time? Dex? Was that Scooter? I feel like that was.
Yeah, there was. I believe it was a Scooter. I don't know if it was Scooter Pie, but I think it was Scoot. I don't know if they've changed names.
So, okay, Scooter Pie, if you do have if you watch, and can you watch, or if you're watching the flight radar, if you are the same person who did that, watch the E4, the Doomsday planes right now. Watch, obviously, the Sub-Hunters. I mean, things like this. And then, so you said that they're off of both coasts. Is that right? So, yeah, there's a lot happening right now. We'll get to that. And again, we're just flying through. I want to make sure that we cover everything. There's a few things I wanted to say on a couple of these, but basically, there's no way I can do a full show. I'm not going to be doing a shout-through either. So again, that's another reason why I just, if you don't have to support tonight if you do not want to. Sean Michelle Hamry, thank you. Howdy, y'all. Bear Lover 92,000. Monkey Lady isn't sick. Rabies shots precautionary. So Bear Lover, we have pieces that she had pink eye. We have articles on that. So we'll talk about that here right now. It says, truck crash involving the transportation of around 100 monkeys labs has sparked infection fears. It says, driver who stopped to help when truck carrying 100 lab monkeys crashed in Pennsylvania and put her hand in one of the cages says she now has a cough and pink eye. The cat urges anyone in contact with the macaques to seek medical attention. It says the truck carrying around 100 monkeys that crashed in Pennsylvania is now sparking fears of infection after a woman who came into contact with the primates began to feel unwell. Michelle Fallon from Danville near Scranton, same town as the office, right, was driving directly behind the vehicle when it crashed, throwing animal crates all over the highway and smashing some to pieces. 4 of the 100 animals escaped and were seen sitting among the wreckage before they fled. Police say they now have all been accounted for, with 3 known to have been euthanized, which is odd. Why would they not euthanize the 4th if they did catch it? And then, again, that was a odd thing. They told everybody around that area to not go anywhere near them. They said now they're saying seek medical attention if you had any kind of interaction with these. And then, of course, the symptoms that she has, the pink eye and the cough. Fallon suddenly developed cough and pink eye, which became so bad she had to visit the emergency room at Geislinger Medical Center in Danville. So...
And Adam, there's also a letter from the Department of Health and Human Services way further down in this article. And I'd like to draw your attention to the last paragraph about being aware and what they're prescribing for people to watch for, what specific signs of illness.
And by the way, we are putting this out there that this is all this is just opinion and asking questions because there is official information about this, and that official information matches official descriptions of something. So we are purely asking the question. Again, if you look at the actual symptoms, you will see they match. They match other things specifically.
Yeah, and in this letter, Adam, they specifically say if you become ill during a 31-day period up until February 21st, and they specifically say watch out for signs that include fever, fatigue, cough, diarrhea, and vomiting.
And this is, of course, to the first responders of this, and it says you received this letter because you responded to a vehicular accident on Interstate 80. It goes into it, says non-human primates and humans are naturally susceptible to many of the same diseases. Goes into, it says, please be aware that surviving monkeys will be quarantined and be monitored. So when they say that 3 were taken and euthanized, but the 4th wasn't, one thing I think of, and I'm not a doctor or an expert, but I do know that they always keep the original or the origin or the ground zero or the case zero, right? They always keep the origin animal because that matters a lot. That's why in Congress they've been talking about the last couple of weeks that we were a year and a half in with SARS and MERS and all of these other ones. Within like a week, they found the first animal, the animal that it came from. The zoonotic propensity of animals for them to transfer disease to a person, they always want to get that original animal. I think it's odd that they're saying 3 of the monkeys were euthanized, guaranteed. Maybe it's just they haven't heard about the 4th, but that 4th has not, and that 4th, again, is the one she became most in contact with, and it has been caught. I saw people posting that it was still out. It's not. It was grabbed, or according to them, grabbed right away after a couple hours or whatever. So
right, there was 100 total. So there's 100. 3 have been euthanized, and 1 that was the last one that was out, and they did say they're all accounted for.
Now, we don't have that other piece. I know that here's the thing. There are several exact symptoms that even the lady is feeling and what they are putting there that also match up with something else.
We did put it on the website so people can research for themselves. But yeah, there's that symptom of conjunctivitis, or pink eye as it's more commonly referred to, has been seen in other things that we've been worried about and things that our government has spent a lot of money preparing for. I think we reported it about 2 years ago. They bought every, vial and placed $1 billion order for every vial to protect against this.
Okay, and it's in the regular
thing
show.
In our title.
Okay, it is the regular. So just look for these two: the ocular complications of and immunization. And then check that out, and then of course look at the previous, this one. But also, Dex, can we also add the piece that shows that the U.S. invested heavily, spent billions of dollars on a V for something that, as far as we know, was eradicated in 1981. Why did they buy so many? Why did Department of Homeland Security buy and allocate billions of dollars to get billions of these Vs for billions of millions of people? And then we have this happen, and it quietly, boom, 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 and then she's feeling well. It's kind of a freaky thing here. Yeah. And then so just asking the question, this was what was going on here. And of course, think about all those first responders that weren't wearing any kind of, crazy stuff. If this was something bad, from what we can see, some of them say, stay clear. One of the containers says dangerous. Maybe it was because the animals was a mean animal or something. I don't know.
In that article, it's now right below the other one that you showed about the ocular, if you refresh. But for everybody in the fam, you can go read it. It was the U.S. may spend up to $2 billion on that V for the SP, and it's to replenish. They said that they actually had committed $170 million, and I think they were going to potentially purchase up to $2 billion over the coming year or years, I believe.
Now, just want to remind you, the date on this was September 3rd, 2019. Within a few weeks, this was literally a couple weeks after one of the 2 places in the world that holds that had a mystery explosion in Russia. There is the Cat Dog Cat in Atlanta, and then there's the Russian lab, one of two places that carries that, Ebola, and everything else that's bad. Those are the only two places in the world allowed to carry that or to keep it. Now, that doesn't mean that they found an old vial somewhere else, like they found one in like a cave from the Germany, back in WW2. They found old expired things here, but those are the only two places that are supposed to have it. And that Russian lab explosion and the whole thing with Timothy Cunningham all happened back then in that same time period.
And that purchase is also what happened right before the lead up to CV, because we know that was publicly out in December. But then people have gone back and said it might have even happened before then. So November or October.
And remember, the end of December 2019 was when it started. That's why they called it 19. So maybe they just mislabeled it, or something else was on there. They never want to cause panic, that's for sure. And then the President B warns Russia invading Ukraine could change the world, would be the largest invasion since WW2. These are the words that are finally starting to ring in with some people. Again, most people do not know about China and Taiwan. I don't understand that. China and Taiwan right now, there are many moves being made. As you know, we have a lot of military in the Fugel family and a lot of people following flight radar. We have people following all of the publicly available information, including now the webcams on both of our coastlines. On the 18th and 19th, we sent out all of our amphibious ships. Russia deployed 140 ships into the ocean. So there are big things, big actions happening right now in all places in the world. And there, of course, is multiple countries in the Middle East that have been eerily quiet, especially the ones that have billions of dollars worth of our gear. Just to put it in perspective, we sent supposedly $200 million worth of stuff to Ukraine. $200 million. 1,000 million is $1 billion. Afghanistan got $75 billion worth of our gear. So what we're sending this entire country to defend against WW3, or their personal WW3, is 1/5 of 1/75 of what Afghanistan actually has, and the supposed bad guys that are really out to get us. So not very good. And then it says, when asked if the risk of invasion has been increasing or decreasing in recent days, President B said it all comes down to Putin's decision. There will be enormous consequences if he were to go and invade, as he could the entire country or a lot less than that as well for Russia. President B continued, not only in terms of economic consequences and political consequences, but there would be enormous consequences worldwide. Dex, do you think he's saying that this is something bigger than just hitting their pocket?
Oh yeah, I mean this is a big deal. He's basically saying that he's basically trying to sort of saber rattle, but also rile up the rest of the allies into saying that look, this is a big deal. If it happens, we don't want that. We're going to support them, and it's probably going to be as big as what happened in the European theater back in the second conflict, right? So this and I don't know if he's trying to draw correlations there to Russia, and we've seen it from some of the other allies like Sweden saying, well, we don't know where they're going to stop. Is it just that country or another? And are they trying to retake or reclaim former Eastern Bloc style European countries that were formerly part of the Soviet Union? I don't know, but I think that's at least the picture they're trying to paint.
Well, what's funny is after all of that, it says is not going to be any American forces moving into Ukraine. President B added at the end of the gaggle. I like how they called it a gaggle, like a gaggle of geese. It says if he were to move in all of those forces, it would be the largest invasion since WW2. It would change the world. Meanwhile, we told you about this yesterday that Sweden and other countries, now we have several preparing for their own invasions. Like Sweden essentially says, look at history. The defense minister said, look at history. There's a very good chance that they won't stop at Ukraine. We are very close. They're like right there. So they are actually sending troops to the island of Gotland, and they are actually ready, and they say that they're ready to defend Russia taking them over. What if Russia actually did that and just kept going, steamrolling? It wouldn't just be Russia, though, either. What people are wondering is if China's going to take Taiwan, Russia's going to take, of course, Sweden. They team up with, of course, NK. NK has a huge force. A lot of people don't realize that. And then you team up with Afghanistan, or not Afghanistan, but some of the Middle East bad guys. You have a lot of different countries. And then weird things have been popping out. India actually drilled with Russia. And then through kind of that drill that they did, drilled with China in a way, which they were mortal enemies. But I do want to remind you, they were battling over the Himalayas to the point where last year they had the bloodiest kind of matchup they've had in 40 years. And there were at least 20 Indian soldiers in the Himalayas, which they still, to this day, don't have an exact border drawn up. They still fight over who has the line here and who has the line there. They were on a cliffside, and 20 Indian soldiers perished by being thrown off. These were unarmed soldiers, and they physically got in a fist fight with Chinese soldiers. At that point, they had all sorts of military equipment at both of their borders. All of that was pulled back randomly right before they started drilling with Russia and China. So what is really going on here? Something is up. No, just hypothetically, what if India found out one of these countries or one of the countries had everything to do with what's going on right now? Or they found out the secret, like they just screwed us over economically or whatever. Do you think that would change their mind on who they allied with? Just a thought. Most people by now think that something else is happening underneath the layers of all of this, because some of it is just so fishy, I don't understand. I mean, like, how do people not... People will believe anything they are told as long as it's from an authoritative source. And those authoritative sources can be caught time and time again. And some people will just go, well, they're wearing a suit and tie and there's millions of dollars behind them and they're in between two Tide commercials. When really the truth is happening here and elsewhere. All of my constituents all over on YouTube, we don't have companies. There's no, we don't have to be careful that we hurt Tide sales or something, That's the bad part, is that all of these companies are sold. They're completely sold out. Mockingbird. It's insane. They say that no American forces would be moving into Ukraine, but the Pentagon says, of course, U.S. forces will be under NATO, because NATO, it says the Pentagon announced Monday that 8,500 troops would be put on heightened alert. So essentially, those would be the first to jump in. And if they do jump in over NATO, it makes people think that they're not our troops. I mean, they're 8,500 of our troops. But I don't think that if history repeats itself, this could be bad. Allison Terry, thank you for your support. I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you so much. It says, God bless you, Marv. Thanks for all you guys do. I think it says, hold on. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for all you do. Feel better. Thank you, Allison. I appreciate that. Tanya Vargas, beautiful name. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I like the little video game controller. That's cute. Cray Tiff Diamond. I don't know if you meant to do two of those. Oh yeah, you did. Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. Thank you for the $10 super chats. And then Simply Pony, I appreciate you as well. It says, don't shut up and take my bits. Prayers. Marf, get well. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I won't. Dog Whisperer, that's huge. Thank you. Thank you for the support. It wasn't necessary. Appreciate the $99 super chat. Simply Pony, thank you. East Tennessee Preparedness. Prayers for healing, Adam. Thanks for all you do and Dex do. Yvonne, thank you. Everybody, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Joseph Newhouse, I appreciate you guys. If you haven't checked out, Joseph Newhouse does a lot of videos that bounce off of our show, and he'll go deep dives into some of the subjects we cover. Akasha NC, he's definitely a Foogle Fam approved creator. Akasha NC, thank you so much for your support. And then Bones, I appreciate that. A lot of people that I missed yesterday. I really thank you guys, and thank you for your patience. And then we have Putin discusses strategic partnership with Cuban leader amid fears of military threat. Dex, what the heck?
Well, we knew that he had threatened that, and now he's actually discussing with the leader. So obviously, Venezuela and Cuba will be the two first two meetings he's going to have, and probably the first two places he's going to, move equipment or do some additional ally work with as this progresses.
Now, remember, President B just met with all the allied leaders, and something happened behind those doors. So we're looking at possible events anytime now. We're waiting. I'm not fearful, and if I do know that if something really, really bad happened, the worst case scenario, it would be over in a second, especially for me here in Washington and Seattle. We would be one of the first places that would just be wiped off the face of the earth. To be honest, I would hope that it would be something like that, who wouldn't want to go like that? It's instant, and you're upstairs. But yeah, I would much rather go that way than, say, drowning or on fire, or I guess I wouldn't want to go if you were far enough away that it wasn't instant. That would be horrible. Yeah, that would not be fun. Or having the power go out for a year or 2 years, and going out that way. So we see that he is partnering up, and they are lining everything up. I mean, how can you undo and unravel all of these things? All of these things were put in motion, and people still don't think that we're going to go to conflict. Dex, you called this. They are now looking at, you called this the second it happened, that they're going to go and recover this thing because we can't let it get in.
Yeah, we didn't know. That's exactly what I said, because they wouldn't admit whether it fell into the water. And I know why, because they didn't want all of our adversaries to run off and try and get to it before they, they could make sure they had it secured. So, but now they've said they're making plans to assess recovering it, and they will recover it unless it's just too deep to be recovered from anyone else. But yeah, if they think anyone else can get it, then they're going to pull it up themselves.
They're going to sit tight and assess, right? And then we have the B administration to withdraw V and testing regulation aimed at large businesses. All within a week of... See, people thought, Boris Johnson of the UK did it because, he got caught at this party. Is that really why he did it, or something else happened? There was leaked audio. There was all sorts of weird stuff. And now all of a sudden it's all gone. People go, well, it's because that Supreme Court ruling and this and that. No. We're moving on, folks. It is now, we are going to be in wartime, and people are somehow going to be hitting the side of the head with this. They have kept people distracted all the way up to the point where, boom, it's go time. That's my opinion. What do you think, Dex?
Well, I certainly think that conflict is a distraction. It's a huge distraction, and it helps administrations when they're down in the polls, right? It helps administrations and change the topic that everyone's talking about. So if everybody's been talking about CV, and now that's no longer something that is benefiting them, or they're able to do anything else with, or maybe there's bad things coming on the horizon from that, and they don't want it to be talked about, well, then conflict is a great way to completely change that narrative. And of course, all of the media, gets in lockstep when it comes to stuff like this. So if they want nonstop 24/7 coverage of, conflict, which we saw in other ones, especially in the Gulf when those two went down, it was nonstop media, and this sounds like a much bigger event. And we're already seeing, Putin involving two other countries. So that would be two other locations that we would probably be involved in. So yeah, all of that is just going to it's going to completely consume the media if it happens.
I want people to think about this. Cuba is a 30-minute. I'm sorry. Venezuela, which are the two other countries, one of the two countries, there's Cuba and Venezuela. Venezuela is a 30-minute jet trip to Florida. Why do you think that Russia would go over there and say, hey, let's shake some hands, let's figure this out? Why do you think to the store was trying to bring ships there? Why do you think Iran had a mysterious ship catch fire and sink? This was all being lined up. They're trying to stop. They're trying to slow things down, but it's going very fast right now. I hope people realize what's going on.
And Cuba's even closer, obviously. It's only 90 miles off the coast. I mean, people ride inner tubes from one coastline to the other. Many not successfully, but yes, that's a very short trip.
90 miles is absolutely nothing. At this point, so here's one thing I've been thinking about, especially with my scenario. So what happens if everything goes down and I cannot go to an emergency room, or I can't get the antibiotics that I need? Say if I have diverticulitis and there's no emergency room to go to. What do? Do you rob a pharmacy? Like, these are the things that I'm starting to think about with my health, because my health is going down the crapper. But also I think about future things, like if I break my foot, or my kids break their foot or break their arm. This is why I'm starting to get books. I had a couple books, but I know that there was gaps. So I got books on different things now, because if our grid goes down or anything like that, then, and by the way, they're warning us that there's our grid might go down. Think about this. If our grid goes down, do they want everybody panicking, thinking that it's Russia or China that just knocked down our grid? Or would it make people more at ease if they thought, oh, it's us, and they just told us it's because they want us to lose faith in the government, right? We're not worried about the big bad boogeyman. We're thinking, oh, it's just some people on the right that they're not going to hurt us. They're American patriots. They're not going to take out their own people. Think about that. Our power goes out like that, and then nobody panics because they think, oh, they put out these huge bulletins. They said, hey, it's Americans doing it. So it's going to go back on. They're going to fix it. Think about what is happening outside of our country. Think about the meetings that are being done. This isn't a conspiracy anymore. Like, this isn't, people need to wake up. People think it's all show and Illuminati and all this. It's gotten to the point where this is real, and people need to think about all of that kind of stuff. Do most of you agree? I'm going to turn the chat on and say hi. Thank you, everybody, for being patient with me. But again, like, what happens if I can't get, and for diverticulitis, I believe the antibiotics are extremely strong. So I would think already 97% of America's active pharmaceutical ingredients for the antibiotics come from China. 90% of all of our antibiotics are from China. And we don't have a way to mass produce them. We just don't. So this is not good. Especially if this all goes down at once. By the way, thank you for World to Change, John Burnham. John Burnham, tonight is not a call-in. Tonight is actually not even a full show. I wish I could do a full show. In fact, we're pretty much done with the news. Dex, I was going to go over to you. First, I do want to remind you, if you guys want to line up yourselves with all sorts of different items, highly recommend go over and check out marfooglenews.com/prep. This is exactly what I have been doing for the last couple weeks. Here's one thing: you can't get antibiotics and things like this from this website. You can get things like what I said, like books and things like that. You can also get food as far as 1 month supply, 2 months supply, 3 months supply. But I highly recommend, I think it was City Prepping. I will try to get the link for it, and I will go over to @Marfoogle on Twitter, and I will post it. There was a video talking about a website that's like a telehealth, and they were talking about how you could get antibiotics and things like that. Now, I don't want to say something that is not correct, but I'm going to be looking into it. So once I find out how to do it, again, that would be something through another YouTuber, and you'd go to that. But I highly recommend people thinking about the medication they use. What my aunt does is she goes into her doctor's, and she has really good insurance. She'll say she's going on a vacation somewhere, and she's always actually is. She'll go on a vacation to, Florida or somewhere, or she'll say she's going to Peru. So in Peru, they have certain things that they have to do. They go there that you want to protect yourself against. But they also have different medications that you can ask your doctor for just in case, because you're going to a country without that. Not suggesting that you not go on vacation and say you are, but I know that when she actually says, hey, I'm going here, she's able to get extra stockpiles of different kind of things that she might need. So just, I thought about that. But you can also get everything else pretty much from marfooglenews.com/prep. It goes through My Patriot Supply. When you go over there, they give you a discount for basically us sending you to them. And then on our end, they give us a commission of what you buy. That way we can basically run our show without the help of all of these platforms. Again, the more controversial you cover, the less you can make. So thank you, everybody that supports us. Thank you for everybody that supports Dex and I. Again, we would love to expand this at some point. That would be great. I would love to have a fill-in, somebody who could fill in my spot. So thank you so much. Dex, you want to go over the...
Absolutely. So head over to marfooglenews.com and click on the thumbnail for the show. Scroll down to web-only content, and you will find the rest of the information. Lots of things that we can't cover on the show, too far with one side or too hot for TV. For those that are into music, there's a new song that came out from Kid Rock. I'll warn you, it's got some explicit language in it. But for those of you that are on one side, you might find it interesting, and some of you may not. Looks like Ducey came out and talked about what happened between him and the administration, and they apparently cleared the air. So you can read more about that as well. Adam mentioned earlier there was an FBI raid, so that's definitely worth thinking about how that may play into future information that's going to come out, and some other things from the FDA and what they're blocking. So go take a look, marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for this show, scroll down to web-only content, or if you're on YouTube, just open that description. It's the first link called Show Notes.
And just a reminder, if you're new, every episode has this. So if you want to search a certain subject, go up to the top right corner, and pretty much everything, if you type in fact, watch... if you type in Bigfoot, it will show you the shows that we actually talk about it. That I'm using as an example because it's, kind of off the wall, right? It will actually show you all of the episodes where we have stories related to Bigfoot. And then you can go to that show and find the actual... Look at this. It said, James, lucid dream about children and the JABS Bigfoot sighting video. Look at that. Top result. You got a Bigfoot video. That's just an example. That's how you can use our website to go back through previous information. That is all done for you guys. It's free. The website is there. It has tons of information that's archived. We, not very many channels our size, or even when we were smaller, we did this. So please take advantage of it. Thank everybody. Thank the mods. The mods have kept this a great place. I saw a lot of great mods down there today. So thank you so much. Ripcroll Readiness, Lisa R. Hall, for one, thank you so much. LCJC, I appreciate you. I saw you, at least I think I saw you yesterday. So I appreciate Alish, thank you for being here. Miss Jammer, Gem, everybody. Scooter Pie, thank you. If you are watching please let us know. Please send us any information you have on publicly available flight radar and everything else. Ilea, thank you so much for modding as well. Thank you guys. Have a good night. No outro tonight. I'm sorry. I cannot go the extra mile tonight. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the prayers. I appreciate you. Love ya. Dex, thank you.
Much love. Great show, brother.
Smarty. So smarty. Mike S., it says in block me. I don't know if you meant unblock me, but you are currently unblocked and everybody can see you.